First, though, members of the National Assembly are meeting in Mombasa for a post-election seminar co-hosted by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The Speaker and Deputy Speaker, as well as the majority and minor leaders, addressed the leaders this morning. NTV's Enoch Sikolia is covering the event and joins me now. Enoch, what have you heard so far?
Thank you, Smriti. Indeed, it is a busy parliamentary week, but here at the north coast, what is referred to as the island of Mombasa, whereby members of parliament those members of the National Assembly are debating key issues affecting the parliament and also affecting the country as a whole. Remember, it's a 3-day agenda beginning today, tomorrow and Wednesday. But the morning session saw key issues being raised by members of the NASA coalition and the Jubilee coalition. But key among them is the separation of powers, with especially members of the NASA coalition raising concerns that actually the independence of Parliament and the independence of the judiciary is being limited. And remember, the clerk of the National Assembly also said, talking about the separation of power, saying that indeed the Secretariat of the National Assembly will ensure that the independence of Parliament is retained. Now, I'm joined by the Minority Whip. He will just delve into some of the issues. Probably the minority side of the National Assembly feels that the space the members of Parliament are supposed to enjoy, and especially when it comes to oversight, is being limited.
Very true. First, we've come here in Mombasa to set the legislative agenda for the Parliament for the next 5 years that we are going to be here. It's a routine seminar that even last Parliament, 11th Parliament, we did it. So we've come here to discuss openly and freely on the way Parliament should conduct its business and going forward. And it's especially coming from an election, as you know, which was hotly contested. So we had, everybody has expressed their views. Our minority side has been expressed, our views by our minority leader this morning, and you could see he was as candid as he could be. And we want our space, you know, the minority space where we are going to view our issue, we give out our issues on behalf of the Kenyan people who elected us. And majority or majoritarian is not the beginning of democracy. It might be the end of the democracy. That's the point we are trying to put across. And we want an independent parliament, a parliament that is guided by its standing orders and the constitution and nothing else. A parliament that is responsive to the needs of the people. A parliament that does its work in accordance with Article 95 of the Constitution, oversighting, representation and legislation. Nothing more than that.
There is a feeling that Parliament and especially the National Assembly is being controlled from forces outside Parliament, not forces, but leadership of the two coalitions outside Parliament, and they dictate to members of Parliament when it comes to NASA. Remember, the NASA coalition has even did not participate in the vetting of cabinet secretaries, and Jubilee has been using its majority in the National Assembly to push its agenda. Is that a feeling that cuts across? Because they say that when you look at, when you point a finger, there are fingers that point at you. Do you feel that NASA is also in the same bracket?
Not at all, not at all. You see, politicians come to Parliament through political parties. And political parties have their organs and leadership. So you cannot separate the two, political parties and Parliament. They go in tandem. So that's what's happening, and that's what you may think, that they're being controlled from outside. The issue of not participating in the vetting of CSS and PSS, your guess is as good as mine. You know that we had issues in the last election which up to now have not been sorted out. So for that reason, we do not want a situation where we participate to rubber stamp a few issues here and there. But now going forward, you will see a robust minority side. You will see, you know, a very well coordinated and well prepared minority side.
Thank you so very much. Minority Whip there. Now we are joined by Nyeri Town MP, that is Ngunjiru Wambugu. You've heard from the Minority Whip, probably then the NASA coalition, which is the minority side in the National Assembly, raising concerns that Jubilee actually is using its numbers to muzzle the space of the National Assembly and the space of Parliament in general when it comes to legislation and its mandate.
Thank you very much. I completely disagree with that position because Jubilee's numbers are actually numbers that they got from the people of Kenya. Every time the tyranny of numbers came forth because Kenyans decided they actually wanted to have more Jubilee people in this parliament than the opposition. So number two, the whole idea of muzzling parliament is an oxymoron because we are members of parliament. It is in our best interest to have a parliament that is actually effective and that is able to do the work it's supposed to do of legislation, representation and oversight. And our work and our role as the majority party is to ensure that we do that and we do it well. I think what NASA is worried about is the fact that by being a majority and being an active majority, we are holding them check in terms of, the minority is supposed to be given their space to speak, but the majority must have their way. And that's just how democracy works. I know that is uncomfortable for them, but even they have at one point had a parliamentary majority, and they did what they could with it. For us, this is our time, and we expect and we believe we will do what is in the best interest of the country with our majority.
Okay, my last question. When you look at it, there are issues that have been raised. A section of Kenyans concerned that the stories coming out whenever we have parliamentary group meetings, the Jubilee parliamentary group meetings at State House, is a matter of being read a riot act. And it's not about democracy. It's not about members of parliament even challenging orders from the party hierarchy. Is it that the case? Because it has been raised here too.
I think I have had this comment. People feeling that Jubilee is being muzzled from State House. I have been in all those parliamentary group meetings. I've never at any given time actually personally felt that I have done some controversial things and I've never been forced to talk. I think what people don't understand is the need for party discipline, which is one of the things Jubilee to instill in Kenya's politics, and that is what is being interpreted to look at to sound muzzling of voices and independent voices. We are independent voices, and we come here to represent the people who put us in parliament.
Thank you, Wesh. That is Nyeri, Member of Parliament, who was elected on a Jubilee ticket, now says that indeed it's usually a matter of independent voicing at State House, just denying reports that members of the Jubilee, members of Parliament from Jubilee Party are usually given direction which they must follow to the letter. Back to you, Smriti, at the Nation Center from Mombasa.
Thanks very much, coming to us live from Mombasa.